Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher, and I am still not feeling great, so I'm just moving really slowly, which is why I'm not putting out as many videos as I typically do. I'm just not doing so great here. I'm okay, and I'm sure that little by little I'll get better, but I'm just sort of having to fall back a bit. Having said that, I'll show you what I'm doing with the sixth sphere of my Suspended World series, and I'll show you what I'm slowly doing. Every step is like slogging through mud. I'm enjoying it, but I am just moving at a very, very slow pace. It's like I've put, it's like time lapse, but in reverse. Way slowed down. Who knows what's going on? I have been to the doctor. I have gone several times, just got back today, in fact. And we are doing all kinds of tests, and I'm doing all the things you're supposed to do when you don't feel great, trying to figure it out. Have no idea what's going on. Never had issues like this before. So, sometimes I think as we age, things happen, things start coming up, and it's just part of the process. And it takes slower, maybe my body is just taking a lot longer to heal from whatever I had a month ago. Who knows? Anyway, there's absolutely no point in speculating. I'm doing all the right things. I'm going to professionals who hopefully know what they're doing, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of relaxing into this other pace, which is really slow, and I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. I have a girlfriend who's in town, so we went to see a show, and we're going to another one tonight, which is wonderful because, as many of you know, if you come to New York, Broadway shows are extremely expensive. We don't usually go to them. In fact, we don't go to them, but she's here, and so we decided to splurge and go to a couple shows with her while she's in town. So that's really exciting and fun. I've been taking some nice long walks. We went up to the Metropolitan Museum of Art up in Upper East Side, which is just a massive, amazing museum. There was a show I particularly wanted to see. It wasn't exactly what I had thought it was going to be. It was still interesting. I'll show you some clips of that, and then the Rockefeller Wing, which is the African art wing, has been completely renovated and finished, and it's absolutely beautiful. They've just done an exquisite job. So that was nice, and mostly I'm just trying to not put pressure on myself at all, and just relax into moving slowly and being okay with that and letting whatever happens happen. So this sphere is going to take a lot longer, I think, than the others, and that's okay. So what do you do when you just feel completely uninspired? In a way, it doesn't really matter why. Whatever the reasons aren't going to necessarily propel me forward or get me into my studio and get me feeling inspired. The things that have worked for me, regardless of why, well, first to get into the studio and just see if I can do the next simple, most basic, easiest thing, whatever that is. Maybe I don't touch the sphere itself. Maybe I prepare materials for it. Or maybe I do like sometimes I'll just write. I'll do a sort of free association. Writing for me is a much more helpful tool than drawing because I'm hypercritical of my drawing, and so writing, it doesn't matter. It's just sort of a stream of consciousness, and maybe I just write about this sphere and what it means and what I'm hoping to portray, and then that will give me ideas as far as, well, how do I take that feeling and translate it into something that is visual? In this case, a sculptural sphere. How do I take those ideas and express them in a sculpture, in a three-dimensional form, using paper and paint and thread and stitching and fibers and all those different materials, found objects, upcycling, whatever it is. How do I express these things using those materials? And then I'll just kind of free associate, and that can be helpful. The other thing, that if all of that is just stalling out on me and none of it seems to be helping, which I have to say, I've never done those things and not got a sort of foot in the door. In other words, by just showing up and sitting down and doing something, anything, it doesn't matter what, it always places me in a position to then take the next step. I've never had it not. But let's say it didn't. Let's say I did all of that and it still didn't do anything. It just completely blah, totally uninspired. Well, then I might do something else that's creative, that I enjoy, but that is completely different. So for me, it's baking. I love baking or cooking, but baking in particular, like cakes, which, so pick your poison. I made an amazing tiramisu cake, which was absolutely fantastic. I will never order tiramisu again. I will only use this recipe. The next baking that I'm doing is this. It's a snickerdoodle cake recipe from House of Nash. She has some wonderful stuff. This was the tiramisu cake, and it's from a website called Pies and Tacos. These are like two of my favorite go-to websites, Pies and Tacos and House of Nash. I'll put a link to that down below for all of you cooks. She has an amazing Levain oatmeal raisin cookie, which I swear is just like the Levain. We don't even go to Levain anymore. We just make a batch of those and I freeze them. They're amazing. I have a big group of people that I can give these baked goods to, so it's not on us, or I can freeze. Freezing's great. Other people talk about gardening. I'm going to show you my garden. I live in New York City in a loft, and my windowsill is the only place I have plants. All right, so as promised, this is my little succulent / cactus garden. We are facing south, so it gets a ton of light. I actually just turned this window box around. Before, it was all these guys were facing the sun, but occasionally I turn it around so that the other parts get so much more sun. And there's my little cactus. And these guys are pretty happy, I think. And then I have my heads here. I have more succulents. These are my heads from Sicily, and there's a whole story behind these guys. Did any of you watch White Lotus when they were in Taormina? The story goes that there was a Moors man and a Sicilian woman, and she was on her balcony watering her plants, and she looks down and she falls immediately in love. You know how these stories go. It's all very Shakespearean. Immediately falls in love with this beautiful man, and they have this affair, but her family is furious that she is having this torrid affair with this man who is Moorish. And so the word is that, well, there's several versions of this. The word is that in revenge, I think her brothers cut the man's head off And she then, in a sort of lovesick, feverish moment, grabs his head and puts it onto her balcony with the rest of her pots so that she will forever have him. The other side of the story is that she finds out that he has another family back home, a wife and children, and in a rage of fury and jealousy, she cuts off his head and keeps it up on her balcony with her plants. And it doesn't explain why her head is there as well, so we're thinking that maybe the siblings' revenge and then somehow, I don't know, cut off her head too. None of it. These are stories, right? But when you go to Sicily, these heads are everywhere. Some of them are huge, and they all have this succulent coming out so that they look like Medusa and hair. And I love these. So Richard got these for my birthday one year, and after we came back from our trip to Sicily, which was an amazing trip. And then I have my Christmas cactus, and these guys are not looking so great. I think I need to repot them. But so that's it. That's the extent of this is my gardening. Not a lot, I don't have a garden. I don't have an outdoor space where I can, maybe if I did, that could be another outlet. Taking walks. I love taking walks. In New York City, it just never ends. This is such a great spot to see so many of these buildings, the big cigarette-looking ones. Those are fairly new. Well, new since I've been here. New in the last 20 years. I mean, they're just endless places to walk. Here we are.
Side by side.
Sitting on a park bench. Your head is quite a bit larger than mine.
It's a huge head.
Yeah. I've never really realized that.
Yeah, my head is like...
I felt like maybe it was the camera.
It's 50% of my body weight is my head.
I thought maybe it's the way I was holding the camera.
It's a big noggin.
Or do I have just like some sort of ridiculously small...
No, you have a normal sized head. I just have an extra large.
All right, well, we're going to go over our head. We're going to look at the... No. Okay, that's it for that video. Now, unless you have some words of wisdom.
You don't.
For our audience.
I never have words of wisdom.
You do. When I turn off the camera, there's lots of words of wisdom. Inevitably, just walking and looking around, and I love taking my phone with me and just taking photographs, and then that's exciting and fun. And along with walking, go hand in hand with going to galleries. And we're right in the art gallery district, so we have just literally hundreds of art galleries right here, right out the door. So we go to art galleries, and then we have world-class museums here. So don't feel like going to a gallery, go to a museum. And those are my go-to things that I do when I'm just feeling like I just can't get a handle on what I'm up to. And another thing with walking is that I'm always on the lookout for things that I can pick up and use in my work. So, all that rusty metal, the minute I see a building site, I'm like thrilled. And depending on if I have a bag with me, which I try to remember to always bring a bag, I'll go in and talk to the workers, and they always have, there's just a lot of rusty metal. So, and they're happy to give it to me. Those are just a few of the things that I do. Tell me in the comments, what do you do when you're just feeling completely uninspired? I've put my wire together, and I did it a little differently this time. I used thread to just sort of hold these sort of in place. I can still move them, but I can with the wire too. It wasn't like the wire was any better as far as just keeping them in place. So this is fine for now. And now I'm going to put some of the mesh over it to kind of stabilize these spokes. keeping in mind that I am going to be cutting off the top, but in a more even way. There's the ability for something to come up and through. And the other thing I did was I finished my little swatch here, which took a lot longer. I always forget how long knitting takes, but I did put more holes in it. And this hole actually became quite a bit bigger than I had meant it to, but that's okay. And this can go, in one of these areas if I feel like it. I don't know. We'll see. It's where it is. It's where I'm at. I'll just end the video with a little story. My husband and I, in the morning, we read, it's called The Daily Stoic. This guy, Ryan Holiday, put together sort of a daily, he pulled a quote from one of the philosophers, Seneca or Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus or, whomever. And he has a little quote, and then he writes a little commentary about it. And the month of July is all on duty. And what's been really interesting is that the entries for July, they talk a lot about, just do the work. Don't complain. Don't expect acknowledgement. Don't do the work because you're hoping someone's going to notice. Don't announce that you've done whatever it is. Just do what you need to do. And it's been really interesting talking to my husband about this, because these entries are written by a man and they are written for men, because women, we are trained from the moment we breathe to do all kinds of things. And we never think about, oh, I should announce, just change a light bulb, just did a load of laundry, just picked up after our daughter, if you have a dog, just took the dog out for a walk, and yet, so it's sort of this running joke now where my husband, will do something and he'll say, just set the table, and then we'll do the slow clap in acknowledgement. And it's really funny because men and women we are really trained very differently. And I think, it's that joke. I mean, they've done memes on Instagram about this and little clips, video clips, a man gets a cold and it's like this national emergency, and meanwhile a woman's got a cold and she's still going to work and she's still doing the laundry and she's still doing the cooking and she's like nobody notices, and but paramedics are coming because the husband's got like a little sniffle. I mean, it's that kind of thing. I mean, it's like we are just trained differently, and it's really funny. So we've been kind of riffing off that and making jokes about it, but it has also been very interesting, and my husband is really acknowledging how different it is, and how he said this morning, he said it doesn't paint a pretty picture for men, and he's right, it doesn't. I mean, it's and he's good. I mean, he makes our bed every morning, he does laundry, but yeah, so for a man he's pretty good. But we women, man, we get stuff done and we don't talk about it. We just do it. We don't ask someone, what do I need to do? What do you need me to do? We just look around and do stuff, I mean, it's really, so, yeah. Thanks so much for watching. It's great to see all of you here. And if you have a story, tell me a funny story. Doesn't have to be funny. Until next time, let's keep creating.